Hello, everybody, and welcome to Movie Couple Live. This is a show where we talk about the latest in movies and pop culture. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And on today's show, we're talking about the title reveal for the Lord of the Rings series.
We're going to be talking about the runtime for Matt Reeves' The Batman.
And of course, the Moon Knight trailer. It is finally here. I know it released a couple of days ago, but we finally get to talk about it on today's show. You guys, welcome and happy Thursday.
Yeah, threw us off a little bit. We were kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. It's Thursday.
It is indeed.
Seeing
Thursday.
how yesterday was just a little bit crazy for us.
Yeah.
We decided to push it back so we can be all a little bit more set and ready and have all of our ducks in a row for this live stream.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys' understanding and patience as we navigate the thing that we call life. Basically, what happened was there was only a limited amount of time left this week for us to get some cars problems taken care of, and I went ahead and scheduled it because when I was scheduling, I was like, yeah, this is fine, I can totally do this.
It's fine, it's all fine here.
It's all fine here.
We can make it work.
Really not thinking about editing schedule. Like, I only looked at it from filming schedule and not from my own editing schedule. Like, I don't put that in my schedule. I'm like, I'll just do it, not thinking that, early Wednesday morning, I'm going to be up until at least 5 o'clock in the morning editing the Book of Boba Fett. So scheduling a car appointment that requires me to be there at 8 isn't the smartest thing because I'm going to get no sleep.
None whatsoever.
That's kind of what happened.
But speaking of which, if you have not yet seen our spoiler review for the our spoiler reaction, apologies, for the Book of Boba Fett episode 4, it is now up on the channel. Go check it out, give it a like, share it, and tell us what your thoughts are of episode 4. On Saturday, we will be talking all spoilers and everything nit and gritty about that episode.
It's definitely a step up from episode 3.
Yes.
That's what I'll say for now. And we will discuss more on Saturday at 2 p.m. PT. And for reactions, we are going to be putting up, it's ready. I just didn't make a thumbnail, so I didn't put it up yet. But the Cobra Kai season 4 episode 3 reaction. I think the title of that episode is called Bicephaly. I think that's how you say it.
No, that's episode 4. Because
that's
episode
the one.
3.
Oh, yes.
Episode 3 was
Then Learn Fly.
Then Learn Fly,
So
and then Bicephaly.
Yes, so that is the episode that we'll have a reaction to coming up after the live stream. I just have to make a quick thumbnail and a couple of Legend of Vox Machina stuff that we're going to be filming reactions to as well. So there's going to be more. This one's very excited about that.
I'm in I want to watch it.
He's ready to go for initiative.
I want to see this.
Yeah.
I am. My initiative is high on the Legend of Vox Machina and everything Critical Role. I'm super excited for it. I cannot wait for us to be able to dive to it and just binge it and just do all of our reactions all at once.
And if there's any fellow critters out there watching right now, bidet. Before we get into our first story, let's go ahead and get to the super chat from Marvin Martin with the suggestion. Thank you so much.
We love your support and
Marvin,
we love your super chats.
Marvin writes, if you could be a super, trauma, villain, specialties, crime priorities, buddies, weakness/issues, personalities, and etc. If Morgoth made the ring. Oh, okay. So first question first. If you could be a super, what would be your traumas? Would you be a villain, or who would be your villains? What would be your specialty? What are your crime priorities? Some of your sidekicks / buddies, your weaknesses, issues.
I honestly think one of my big priorities for super, if you're a super villain or a superhero, is anonymity. I think because unless you wanted to do 100% the superhero thing all the time, I would say trying to keep your secret identity is very, very important. It's kind of thing. And if Spider-Man has taught us anything, making sure that you have those two lives very, very separate is very important, or else everything's going to crumble.
Like that. So it's not less of an Iron Man, because Iron Man was just like, I am Iron Man. And everybody knew, but.
Or what you have to do is completely
you don't want to be a Peter Parker.
No. Don't try to. Either keep them very, very separate, or just clump them and be like, you can't do half and half, because what is it? If you want to have just some personal time to yourself, then you kind of have to keep that separate.
Yeah. I think for me, the trauma, I feel like it's to me, and it's funny because I literally had therapy this morning, probably some sort of, and this is all fictional, this is not based in any of my reality, but I would pick some, like, you know, trauma from younger life, childhood trauma, that would shape me into, if I was then given the superpower, like, you know, and hopefully that trauma causes me to want to do good, versus like be a super villain. Because I think on like the idea of being a super villain, like if you just read comic books, you're like, oh, that's cool, but I don't think I'd want to live the lifestyle and just be in that mindset. For me.
And then again, it's like, when would you want the trauma to happen in your life too? Do you want to happen when you're younger, so you have more like time to adapt and change to it? Or do you want to happen when you're older, when you're a little bit more mature and you think you can actually cope with it a little bit better, kind of thing?
You know what I think I'd want, on a similar note, but not exactly the same, but how Jessica Jones, her trauma, like the being experimented on and being like kidnapped and kept by what's his
being
face?
able, by Kilgrave.
Yeah, and but her superpower is so cool. Like she's just super. Is she impenetrable?
No, she can still get hurt. She can still get like
she's just
shot
super
by.
Strong.
She's just super strong, and she can like, since she's super strong, she like jump really high.
I think I'd want something like that, because it's also very opposite of what my physical appearance gives, right? Like I don't have the physicality of, you know, I don't have a lot of like muscles. I mean, I have muscles, but they're not well defined at all. And I'm not a lifter or anything like that. So like to see me, you know, like one punch someone would be really crazy. Be like, that girl's got superpowers. I think that's what I would want.
And also, you know what?
Priorities.
I wouldn't mind being like, you know, if I'm trying to think of crime fighter, I would think of like more along the lines of like being like super invisible, and then being able to be like kind of like espionage, to where I wouldn't really do anything. I would go in there with a super invisible camera, and just kind of film them and be like, I'm just letting you guys incriminate yourself here, and then just post that onto the internet, kind of a thing. So that's something I think would be really cool to be able to do, because I don't know if I could do the whole superpower kind of thing and then stopping bank robbers kind of a thing. So I'd be more like, okay, I'm going to do this quietly so nobody knows.
You can be a hero or a villain.
Yeah.
Depending on how you feel like you want to wake up that day.
Yeah. Honestly, I could just be like, you know what? I've got some dirt on everybody. You want someone's dirt? I can get it for you.
Yeah, there you go. And then weaknesses and issues. Weaknesses.
Well, weaknesses is that I'm still a normal human, but I am invisible.
You can't be invisible. Are you invisible all the time?
I think I would want to be able to control it.
Okay, because that would kind of suck. You're like, that'd be very lonely.
Yeah,
and you would have to like trench coat, sunglasses, like literally how they did it in the movie Invisible Man.
Yeah.
And just like mummy wrap yourself so you can be seen. Wow, that'd be crazy. I think, well, obviously I don't want to turn off my superpower. I just want it all the time. But I would have to.
You'd have to be careful though, because what if one day you want to go up and be like, give a kid a hug, and you're all of a sudden you're like,
it's be a light hug. God, you have to be a light hug, and also have to be careful about like, you know, in the apartment, like if you're cooking or something like that, where you're trying to like snack a bug, because you want to get the security deposit back. Very important.
I can just see that. You're tracking a fly, and you're like, just go like this, and the shockwave, and it just breaks the windows, and you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. And then the final question from Marvin: if Morgoth made the ring, hold on, let me just do it quick.
Yeah, no, that threw me off a little bit too.
Morgoth in the Otis tell the Dark Lord, the great enemy, the Mar, the corruptor. So it'd be like essentially the villain making the ring.
Yeah, instead of
well, we certainly wouldn't have the movie, or the movie would have an even darker tone, I think.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, it would just. I think it'd be like the same kind of story. Because, I mean, still making the rings would still have the same kind of effect, being made by someone as that evil.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, it would have just been like, you would have just a little bit different. It'd be like, what is it? A variant of what happened in Lord of the Rings.
Like an alternate universe.
Even though that would be a fun story to kind of.
What if Lord of the Rings?
What if Lord of the Rings? They should have a what if series for every single
And they make it a little bit more like Star Wars Visions, because like, what if it's a little bit more based on like some of the comic runs?
Yeah.
But Tolkien wrote one story, and that's the one true story. But maybe we can give like an animated Star Wars Vision treatment to like a Lord of the Rings.
I think that'd be really fun.
That'd be cool. We have another super chat before we dive into our first topic. This one is from Zork, the Dark One. Thank you so much. Hi, Wendy and Dustin. Hope you guys are having a great day.
So far, so good.
Thank you.
It's been productive. We were able to get all of our show notes done. We were able to get the show up and running today. Not as crazy as yesterday, thank goodness.
Yesterday was literally insane, and I just took 2 weird long naps and hope that by combining the times that I napped together,
it would kind of make up for all the non-sleep that you got yesterday.
My Fitbit tells me your sleep score is poor. It was like 46% or something crappy like that. Really terrible. Bad. Yeah. Okay. Ruru 2 coming in with the facts. Morgoth is Sauron's master.
So what if? So that means you would actually get more powerful rings. Probably because you would get more powerful masters and more powerful magic into them. So what that means they would obviously have more evil in them. Before, like, what is it? The elves were actually able to use their rings for some good. But if Morgoth made them, probably not. There probably wouldn't have been. They would have been instantly corrupted.
Yeah. Huh. This is interesting. Hold on. I'm trying to find a tweet because I'm seeing a couple of interesting chatter in the comments. But you know what? Let's go ahead and we'll save that for like end of show, maybe if we have time. But let's go ahead and get into the very first topic here for news flash. And that is the Lord of the Rings series that is coming soon to Prime Video has had the title reveal and is called, I just literally pulled it up.
It's like I had it just 2 seconds ago.
Yes. All right. Here it is. It is called The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I hesitated because I didn't have it right in front of me, and I wanted to say The Power of the Ring.
And you're like,
but I was like, that sounds like something a little bit. So The Rings of Power, and I don't know if you saw it, but they released like a cool sequence of showing like there's water, like different elements, and then into forging a ring. I don't know if you saw that. That was how they revealed the title of the upcoming series. And believe it or not, because I also thought this when I watched it, the title sequence, I was like, oh, okay, it's like cool CGI. It's practical.
It's all practical?
According to IGN and other tweets that I've seen, it is practical. So the Lord of the Rings series, it's going to be centered on the Second Age storyline from Jrr Tolkien's books, and it should explore major players like Sauron, Galadriel, Elrond, more during their earlier years, during the time when Middle Earth was,
it was like when the rings were first made.
Yeah.
So it's probably gonna a little bit. It sounds like it's going to take place a little bit before the rings are made, while the rings are being made, and then once the rings have been handed out, so to speak, the 9 to what is it? It was 9 to the humans,
7 to the
dwarves, 3 to the elves, and then one
ring to rule them all.
One ring to rule them all. And Alex Corey has the title has a nice ring to it.
Rim shot.
I like it.
Nice.
But I mean, this is a ripe world to very much just play and explore. We have the generic outline of what took place and the players that are in it. So I think this is going to be, I'm really excited to see this.
Me too. I think we've all been craving a little more Lord of the Rings. Obviously, there's no new books coming out. There are certainly a ton of fantasy books that are inspired by Tolkien's work. That you can kind of find throughout if you just go ahead and read, because he's one of the first to really do this. So there's been a lot of books that you and I have read that's kind of like, oh, reminds me of like this. Not everything's a ripoff, but obviously like you're inspired by the world that he built.
Well, and that's the thing. Jrr Tolkien was such a breakthrough. It was really the first time, well, I don't want to say that, was a very popular telling of super high fantasy, of having this level of story, of having actually languages that he wrote. The fact that he wrote, just created so many different languages and was so deep and so rich. Other people were just so inspired. It inspired the whole next generation of writers. And when you have inspiration like that, it carries on through multiple generations. So it makes sense that, you know, when you read Robert Jordan, you get senses of Jrr Tolkien because he was inspired by Jrr Tolkien.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because this conversations remind me of the time when somebody, I guess, who's just discovered Lord of the Rings for the very first time, and after they were reading the Harry Potter books, and they said, how dare Lord of the Rings rip off the world of the Harry Potter books, and they have there's a wizard, and I was like, do you not realize how new the Harry Potter books are in comparison to the Tolkien books?
Yeah.
And it just I feel like, and that was when like Twitter was a thing, but it wasn't as like everybody kind of goes to it, and there's plus all these other, like, I don't even think Instagram existed when I found out about this, when I read it. And I thought, boy, they're in for a rude awakening in the comment section there.
Yep. Yeah. And, you know, that's one problem that we actually have as humans, is that because we don't know about it, it doesn't exist until we learn about it. Mm-hmm. So when we first are exposed to something and then we get told a story, oh, well, read this, and you don't know that it actually has been around for a really long time, you think, oh, wow, this is such a ripoff of what I read earlier, when it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Yeah. So it makes sense. You know, it's just something that that's one of humanity's many flaws.
Yes. Google was free. You can look it up. But sometimes we don't. Sometimes we are, I think as humans, we can be reactionary too, you know, so it is what it is. And we have another super chat from Marvin Martin, who writes, if you could write your own epic fantasy story.
Ooh. I've wanted to kind of attempt to do what they did, I think, in the Netflix show Bright, to where what would have happened if, like, say the world of D&D did actually slowly go through a an industrial revolution, and then a technological revolution kind of thing. Magic is still very powerful, and they use it as kind of like an energy source. But what would the world look like if you did have orcs, elves, humans, dwarves, all of these different, you know, real different races, kind of a thing? And they've just kind of gone through some of the different highlights of humanity's gone through, but magic was involved as well. You know, what would the world look like? How would it be similar? How would it be different? I think Bright got close to what I would like to have seen, but I think there were still some things that they didn't quite hit right.
Yeah.
So I would love to kind of create a world to where we're able to see this evolution of magic and technology kind of slowly come together, kind of a thing. And from what it sounds like, Arcane is very much like that. And I still can't wait to get into that.
I know, but we have so many other things lined up. I just don't have the capacity to like watch, film, and edit several shows at once. Like, my capacity is maybe 2.
Yeah.
Because of the way I like to work.
Alex Horry, kind of like Onward, but the thing is with Onward is that magic stopped. People stopped using magic. People stopped using magic. And then they got technology.
Yes.
I wanted to see what if they were moving forward together, kind of a thing. They're like, hey, wait a second. We found this cool thing that can use magic and then you have technology, kind of a thing. And then they started moving forward in progression together, instead of kind of like in the world of fantasy, they're like, well, we have magic, so we don't need to progress anymore.
Oh, yeah. For my fantasy book, I think I would loosely base, very much inspired by the world of D&D, as far as like races and class go, but I think I would make it more of like catfolk, Lionin, what's Tano, the elephant?
Oh yeah. So less of a human present.
Yes.
Less of a human present, and more of many different kinds of races.
Yeah, I think to kind of borrow from some of the lores that we know from playing a lot of TRPG, I think it would be interesting if they were maybe captives, kidnapped captives, like, you know, whether it's made to be slaves to do hard labor or to perform or for whatever. And they, as a group, that's how they bond, and they get out, and then they kind of make a name for themselves as this like, not vigilante group, but like, like swords for hire situation. I think that'd be kind of the book, and it would be like, smaller books and different series as they go through, and everybody would have their own arc in their own books and stuff like that, like 5 to 6 heroes. I think that would be cool.
Really fun. And honestly, that's the whole thing, is that you have so much to explore. I mean, there is really pretty much, there's no limit to imagination.
No. Imagination. Unless you're standing in line 7 hours to get the Figment bucket. That was crazy. I saw that on social. I was like, how long for a popcorn bucket?
Wendy showed me a video of someone taking Figment to the Figment bucket.
It was on
to
TikTok,
Universal Studios, and getting in line to see Donkey and Princess Fiona. And Donkey was just ripping into it, and I thought it was hilarious.
Let's see, Silver Princess with a super chat. Look at the stars in her picture. That's cool.
I like it.
Very princessy indeed. Thank you so much for the super chat. Just to give you guys an idea of Morgoth's power, if Sauron with the One Ring united with Gandalf, Smaug, Saruman, and the kingdoms against Morgoth, they would all be utterly annihilated.
Yeah, because what is it? Morgoth is pretty much Sauron's god. It's the one who created Sauron, right? I haven't read the Silmarillion in a really long time, but if I'm not mistaken, that is actually the hierarchy to where if Gandalf is kind of a demigod to us, to Gandalf, Morgoth is like a god.
Wow. I think the last time I picked up the Silmarillion was high school.
It's been a while.
I think it's high school. That was a long time ago.
It's time to dive back on.
No, I'm still reading Dune. I can't.
Too many books on the list.
I can't. There's so many. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I think this is on my like loosely based off of D&D epic fantasy novels. Sunny says, haha, they already have that in mangas. Oh, I 100% believe it. That is not really an original story, but it, I think it can be original depending on where you want to take your characters. But of course, with so many creative minds and creative platforms out there, there is going to always be, like, you can always find one that resembles this or that reminds you of this, like 100% for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I absolutely believe that there are definitely mangas that,
and that's the problem with trying
there's so many.
Yeah, that's the problem with writing, trying to create original material nowadays, is because there's so many hints and bits and pieces of this from that. There's already so much material out there.
Yeah,
it's really hard to create something 100% brand new. So when someone does, that's when it's just blows your mind, kind of a thing.
Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is to talk a little bit deleted scenes from the Disney Plus show Hawkeye. So I was just scrolling through Twitter like I normally do when I'm bored. And I saw that Hawkeye was trending. I was like, oh, are people kind of like starting to just rewatch the series just because, or maybe they haven't had the time, so now they're, catching up and watching it. But it's actually because I believe a bunch of deleted scenes were released. 2 of them I really do want to talk about. One of them, I really wish they included this in the series. It wasn't that long of a scene, just a couple of minutes, and I think it would have deepened our understanding and connection to both Maya and Kazi. I had to think about the name for a second. But it's a conversation between young Maya and young Kazi after martial arts class. And he's like, hey, it's kind of like them meeting each other for the very first time. And him saying, hey, my dad works with your dad. And she says, oh, I'm deaf. And you start to see that he's like, okay, well, that didn't say to him, okay, I'm not going to interact with her. He tried to be like, he points, and it showed Maya's dad talking with Kazi's dad. And so she kind of teaches him how to say that phrase. And that, gives us just a little bit more backstory on like why out of everybody in the Tracksuit Mafia, I almost said Sweatpants Mafia. Tracksuit Mafia.
I think that would be hilarious. Honestly, if Deadpool ever came across the Tracksuit Mafia, I can see him constantly going through and like just making fun of their name, kind of a thing, calling them like the PJ Mafia, calling them the Sweatpants Mafia, the Bro Mafia.
But yeah, I like that scene a lot, and I thought, it gave a better understanding of, like, out of everybody in the Mafia, like, why is Cassie the only one that is fluent in sign language and is like the main communicator, to and translator for Maya, for everybody else who hasn't picked up sign language. And I just like that so much. I enjoy that. It's on Twitter if you just want to like do a quick search for it. Couldn't find it on YouTube for some reason, but just search Twitter.
And didn't you post it on Twitter?
I didn't post anything.
Oh, repost.
I reposted because it was tweeted by the actor who plays Cassie. So I was like, this is a safe retweet because he retweeted it. So I try not to retweet other sources, and I'm like, I don't know if this is legal. But the other one that we saw was an earlier conversation that Eleanor had with Kingpin, and this is shortly after her husband's death, so probably shortly after, once like the New York invasion happened. I'm sure once things calmed down, she went ahead and had this meeting with Kingpin and basically talking about like, hey, I know you dealt with Derek,
you're now going to be dealing with me.
Now it's me. And Kingpin's like, I respect you coming forward like this. I'm sure it's not easy. I respect you for being direct and like you mean business, but also your husband made a mess, so there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of debt to be paid is basically the thing. And Dustin had an interesting theory about, not theory, but thought about
I liked this scene, and I really thought it really built a lot more character and a lot more relational dynamic between Kingpin and Eleanor. However, I can see why they took it out, because one of the things that they were deliberately doing through this entire show was hiding Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Now, they revealed him on the second to last episode, last moment, big cliffhanger. Oh my gosh, it's him. That means this scene had to have fit in the last episode, along with the other scene that we got to where it, once Eleanor does kind of step away and says, you know what, I'm done. Kingpin does that, and she turns in her resignation like she works at Goldman Sachs, kind of a thing. Yeah, that is a direct conflict to how he acted in the deleted scene. So he's like, "Oh, I understand that you only need to be here until the job is done," kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. But I think for him, because again, like mob bosses, you got to read between the lines for them.
No, it's true.
So when he said you do it until it's done, but he didn't say what done means. I think it's done when he thinks it's done.
Yeah, no, and I can see that, but then I believe that deleted scene should have kind of given that nefarious undertone.
Oh.
If that's the direction they were going, then in order to make it so that scene did fit, make it kind of to where Eleanor kind of took it for what it was, that face value, that, oh, I can get out once I'm done. But the audience goes, that's not what he meant.
Yeah. But I like that. I did like that scene a lot, but I also do agree that it doesn't quite make sense to have it in there, especially if it would have, in order to not ruin Kingpin's actual official cameo like appearance, then they couldn't have put that earlier in the show. They could have only put that later on in the episodes as a flashback, and that may have changed his angry scene of like, she can't just quit on me. Who does she think she is? Situation, his attitude maybe a little bit. So, but I do enjoy seeing a lot of these. There's a couple more out there. There's one about they're in like the shopping for stuff, and then Kate asked for a boomerang, and there's a couple other ones.
The boomerang arrow?
Yeah.
Because it would come
I think
back.
she just asked for a boomerang, period.
Oh, okay. But also that one scene.
All the clip is here, MK. This is the Twitter account if you guys want to check it out.
And also one of the other scenes was Maya being picked up by Kingpin to go out and get ice cream because her dad was busy. And I'm like, oh, this was kind of a cute scene to build up the relationship between Maya and Kingpin. But once again, that would have had to have been in the last episode. And we kind of already know with that one hidden shot of your uncle's going to take you home. And then you just see like the silhouette. Yeah, I'm like, okay, I
like that much better. Than an actual, like, because I everybody knew it was coming. Vincent D'Onofrio had already quote tweeted Hawkeye, and even though he was sly in his language, he was like, I love these Disney Plus shows. I'm like, you're in it. You like it because you're in it. I mean, they're all good, but you're in it. But I was fine with the way they released, like where in the show they finally gave us the actual official reveal of Kingpin. Should we move on to the next topic?
Next topic.
Okay, next topic. Let me just go ahead and make sure I'm following my notes here. Okay, let's talk Batman, y'all.
Oh, Batman.
Let's talk Batman.
I'm vengeance.
We're going to talk about this for the rest of the show.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. It hurts.
If I don't have to talk like that, I don't.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So
let's talk about the Batman, because it is finally coming out this year. We're so excited. And the runtime has been revealed, clocking in at almost 3 hours. So according to Collider, the runtime for the upcoming film is at a
2 hours and 55 minutes.
Wow.
That's a spicy movie. I'm like excited. I want to see almost 3 hours of Batman.
2 hours and 45 minutes. And
45 minutes?
Yeah.
I thought 55 minutes.
45 minutes.
Oh.
44 minutes. No? Oh, I see. Okay, sorry. I'm not reading this like in the right order. So the film will have a hefty runtime, according to Collider, of 2 hours and 55 minutes, making it the longest standalone Batman film today. The previous one, which was The Dark Knight Rises, was the longest solo Batman film, and that was at 2 hours and 44 minutes.
So that means it's 11 minutes longer.
I am so excited.
11 more minutes of vengeance.
Yeah, I am very, very, very excited to sit in the theater and enjoy it for its full 2 hours and 55 minutes. And you won't hear a complaint from us about how long this Batman film is. Look, everything that they've been putting out, trailers, clips, posters. I think I saw somebody mention in the chat, like, have we heard the music? We haven't heard the music yet. I don't even know if it's released, but if you know where we can find the music, let us know. And I have this super wrong. There we go. Let us know where we can find that, so we can listen to like the Batman theme. But everything that they've been showing us so far, I've been so satisfied with. And I don't think they're showing too much, because I feel like they're kind of re-showing some of the clips that they've already released, just at a slightly longer increment.
Yeah, like, so we got a little bit more with Selena Kyle when what is it, that trailer of the Bat and the Cat kind of thing. So I thought that was really cool. Even though, they showed us a lot of the same footage, it was just a little bit longer. We got a little bit more at the beginning and end.
Yeah.
I also love one of the comments that was in this article about the fact that Batman's going to be more and more like a horror movie.
Yes.
So I am excited for that. I'm excited that they're taking this and turning it into kind of like a murder thriller movie.
Yeah.
So I want to see something like this. We've been dying for a super dark Batman for a really long time. And it really looks like they're going to take that and then just run with it. They're going to take it as dark as we have ever seen it before.
So according to an interview for Movie Maker magazine, director Matt Reeves has defined the Batman as almost a horror movie, and it underlines on how the upcoming movie, his version of the Riddler is indeed, which a lot of people saw this already and have been commenting this, under all the trailers.
Since the first trailer,
been inspired by the real Zodiac Killer. And he discussed that the tone of his take on The Dark Knight, revealing how he wanted to explore the detective side of DC's most iconic vigilante. And there's a quote here too, quote, "The idea of a place that is corrupt and you try to swim against the tide in order to fight against it and make a difference. It is quintessential Batman. And at the center of those noir stories is almost always the detective, right? And that is why he is the world's greatest detective." And so this story, in addition to being almost a horror movie and a thriller and an action movie at its core, it's also very much a detective story. Give it to me now.
This just makes me so happy, because this is a spot that we've really wanted to see from Batman in a really long time, is that focus on the detective, because that's one thing that even Ra's al Ghul always called him. He always called him detective.
Yeah.
And I just love that little bit of detail in the character of Batman. It always seems like that has been glossed over for so many. I mean, since Batman has so many different deep characteristics to him, that's one of the ones that's kind of been pushed to the side. And I really hope that they focus. I'm really glad that they're going to be focusing on that.
Yes, and you guys, let us know how you feel about the reveal of the time, the runtime. Are you happy with 2 hours and 55 minutes? Are you thinking, now that's excessively long? Our opinion is we love it and we're here for it. And I want to call out this comment from MK, who writes, "My hype says yes, my bladder says no."
Yeah, no.
I mean, this is going to be very much like how I did the Avengers, where I just like straight up did not drink liquid for the whole day before I saw the movie, which is not recommended.
Nope.
I do not recommend that you do this, but did I have to go to the bathroom? No, I didn't. I didn't get up. I didn't have to get up and like do this and be like, oh God, I hope I don't miss anything. I don't want to miss anything.
I don't want to miss the best part. With my luck, that's exactly when the best part would happen. And I'd come back and when you'd be like, oh my God, you... Like, as I'm about ready to open the door, you hear everyone in the audience go, oh! And you're like, no! No! Why?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yes. Let's see. Ricardo Ramos says, Matt Reeves, the detective, noir trilogy. I am calling it. Also, 2 hours of Batman awesomeness. Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please. We also have another super chat from Marvin. Marvin, thank you so much. Marvin's asking, what if villain/heroes reversed roles?
I always loved those kind of comic books. I can't remember.
Wasn't it like Flashpoint Paradox in the cartoon?
No, there was a comic book. I didn't read it all. I kind of flipped through it because I was like, this looks really cool. But it's where Batman and Joker switched roles. Well, they didn't really switch roles, but what happened was what if the Joker was raised by a rich family and his parents died, he inherited all of the money, and he kind of becomes this reverse Batman, but he wears like a white Batman outfit. Someone in the chat I know is going to know this comic book. And then Batman came from a very poor upbringing, and he was actually like the detective kind of a thing. I remember flipping through it and it looked amazing. If anyone can remind me, I am definitely going to see if I can pick it up. But it wasn't actually a DC comic, if I'm not mistaken. It was actually someone else had picked it up, and it was just very obvious who this was modeled after. So if you guys remember it, but yeah, I love flips like that all the time. The what ifs, how things have changed, what would happen if these little things got flipped around. So I'm very interested. I love those stories.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting too. I feel like we got like a taste. I think we got a little taste of that in Flashpoint Paradox. I think like Wonder Woman was like she didn't go on a killing rampage, but didn't she like straight up murder someone like outside? I think she killed Mira.
Well, yeah, because what happened was
she was involved.
Her and Aquaman had an affair.
Yes,
because the Atlanteans and the Themyscirians were having like a truce, but then then Mira tried to assassinate her.
That's
right.
But
then Wonder Woman ends up killing her, and then they start the whole battle.
It was just so jarring to see Wonder Woman doing something like that. You're like, wait, what? So that is interesting. But yeah, that is always, an interesting concept, and if done right, can always be super, super entertaining. I want to also call, this is MK, thank you so much for putting this in here. Giacchino's The Batman theme is supposed to drop online at 9 p.m. tonight, but it appears someone has already uploaded to YouTube. Oh, well. It always leaks.
Yeah.
No matter what, it always somehow leaks. I feel so sorry for like everybody wanted to keep it a surprise and have this like big reveal at 9 p.m. PT, and now it's kind of poo-pooed. But MK says stuck it in Discord as well. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and drop you guys the invite link to our Discord, the movie couple Discord. You can join the rest of the movie bunch who are also in this chat, discuss TV, films, food, what we're listening to, collectibles, theme park stuff. But
if you are new to our Discord, of course, please be respectful. Please even if If you highly disagree with someone, please be respectful in your disagreements.
Have a healthy discussion.
But also give you a heads up. We do have certain what are those called? Channels. Are they called channels?
Yes.
Certain channels where there are a ton of spoilers. So, like, for example, we have a Book of Boba Fett channel on there. Yeah. If you are not caught up in Book of Boba Fett, be careful that when you first hop on, there'll probably be tons of spoilers. You want to first silent those channels until you are caught up with that material.
Yes.
Then you can be like, okay, now I can hop into the chat because you can talk spoilers left, right, and center.
Yes. So I went ahead and just dropped the Discord invite link in the chat for anybody. It's available for like 24 hours. I think the link, and after that, the link expires. So if you want to join us and the Movie Bunch on our Discord, feel free to do so. And the rule is really simple. Like he said, be nice. Don't be a jerk. No name calling. No calling anybody names. If I see any sort of bad behavior like that, I'm kicking you out, because we don't need that here. We're trying to keep it positive while just having really geeky discussions, basically talking about all the things we love.
And that's what we want to do. We want to have a safe place that we can talk nerdy to each other. Talk nerdy to me, Wendy.
Sorry. Marvin Martin says, rich good guy, poor bad guy. What a message.
Yeah.
What a message. And we also have, before we dive into the next topic here, we have another super chat from, I'm going to not pronounce your name. Oh, you look at the Ahsoka Tano avatar. Yes. Itilosi. I'm so sorry. I'm butchering your name so badly. I'm so sorry. But they write, did you hear about the cast reveal for Vox Machina? So Vox Machina, The Legend of Vox Machina, it is an animated series coming soon to Prime Video, but it is based off of the Critical Role very first campaign called Vox Machina, and they've turned it into 2 seasons. And we did a trailer reaction for the Red Band trailer because it is going to be rated Ma for mature.
Very Ma for mature. If you saw the Red Band trailer, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for this.
It's going to be like, it's not as brutal, and the trailer is not as dark as like something you see like in Invincible, but I think it will have maybe equal gore.
Yes. I mean, there was a moment when someone's head, it got sliced up, flying through the air,
on someone else's face.
It's going to be gore for comedic sake, whereas in what is it called? In Invincible, it was gore to just punch home how brutal this is. So it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's different, but in the similar. Thank you. Sorry.
That's okay. So the cast reveal, I saw that. I think it was on the Critical Role YouTube channel. They did reveal like a 10-minute video or something like that to reveal the cast. We haven't watched it because we actually wanted to do a reaction to it. So stay tuned. It'll be ending up on the channel sometime today. But thank you so much for bringing that to our attention as well for your super chat. Let's see. Should we? Oh, it's pronounced. Oh gosh, I'm still gonna have problems.
Itilosi. Pleasure to meet you.
I hope that's as close. I don't think it's right, but I hope it's close. And I'm sorry. Okay, so let's get into the next topic here, which is, let me just look at my notes again. All right, since we're talking Batman, we're talking about the one and only Pattinson. Let's talk about the next project that he potentially could be involved in, and that is he is in talks to star in the next film by director Bong Joon-ho, who have directed many things, Snowpiercer, but also Parasite, which if you haven't watched it, it is worth your attention. It is such a good film. So let's take a look here. I don't think director Bong has like done any other or has like announced that he's doing any other work since Parasite, and that was kind of a whirlwind because they had the press tour, they went to TIFF, and then Oscar season came, and he was just rightfully so, deservingly winning awards left and right. So that was a lot of work, and then going back to Korea, and then now he is working on his next project. So let's see here. Let me see if I can find Deadline reports that Bong has taken his time working on his plans in the wake of Parasite. And He was presented with the manuscript for the unpublished book by Ashton, which immediately drew his interest. And so Bong met with some of the most promising A-listers across Tinseltown about the role, and Pattinson coming out of their meeting most impressive. Which, if you've watched any of Robert Pattinson stuff,
he has really proven himself time and time again to be an amazing actor with incredible depth.
Yes.
So I'm excited to see this mashup, especially, because Bong Joon-ho has proven his chops as an amazing director.
Yes, and I'm
excited to see his next project.
And I believe this is going to be a Warner Brothers Studios film as well, which is very exciting. Like anything Bong Joon-ho makes, I'm going to be like, oh yes, I'm interested. What is it? Because I think he's really creative. I think he's an incredible storyteller. And mix that with Robert Pattinson, I think that's going to be, if it works out, if they, obviously we all have to confirm and sign and all that stuff to agree that they are going to work on this together. But like that would be so fun. Looking forward to the next Bong Joon-ho thing. All right. Sorry, I'm like losing my track of thoughts. I'm very distracted for some odd reason. So let's go ahead and move on to our final topic for the day, which is Moon Knight. Moon Knight, the trailer finally released, and it is like it blew my expectations out of the water.
Yes,
it really did. And you guys, let us know what you thought of the trailer for Moon Knight in the chat or in the comment section if you're watching this on a VOD. I think Oscar Isaac is the perfect actor to star as Moon Knight / Mark Spector / other personalities that we will be.
Well, and also, I think for this character, you really need an incredible actor to be able to pull this off successfully, because multiple personalities is something that is very difficult to pull off, because you have to be able to play so many different kinds of characters. And I think pulling Oscar Isaac, who has amazing acting chops. I mean, I really did not recognize him when I first saw him in I almost said Vox Machina. Ex Machina. In Ex Machina. And Wendy was like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy who's in Star Wars." I'm like, "What?"
That's Poe Dameron. On top of 50 million things.
50 other, million things. But this character is just so deep, and I'm very glad to see that they're also going very dark with it. I love the twists and the turns and it really seems like they're going to make this a psychedelic kind of thriller, kind of a thing.
Psychological thriller.
Thank you.
Vibe before psychedelic's kind of different. I guess we could have some scenes that are psychedelic, but I like that in the trailer, in the short amount of time that we got, which is only under 2 minutes, they gave us a look at Mark Spector's who's living with DID. And a little bit, just a little glimpse, very quick glimpses of Moon Knight in his outfit. And I was looking back at one of the scenes, and I can't remember which exactly it was, but you know how there's like, and again, I haven't read the comics yet. I'm trying to gather. A lot of people are leaving recommendations in our reaction videos, so I'm kind of taking notes and seeing which one I want to read, because I originally was going to start with the Warren Ellis run, but a couple of people have recommended some of the other ones, like the Bilson Cabbage one. I think there is.
Yeah, so and RMD Collective is putting in the Charlie Hudson, Bennett. I can't read that, or Jeff Luram.
Oh, so Charlie Hudson issue from 2006, or can read Bendis or Jeff Lemire issues, and so those are all the names that I have written down as well. So there's a lot of comics, and comics are expensive, so I'm gonna pick and choose. But I think
I might go onto Amazon later today and just be like, I'm gonna buy it.
Jeff Lemire is the one. Jeff Lemire is the one. The name that consistently keeps popping up.
Okay.
And as well as Bendis. So I think
one.
That's the one that maybe I go with first, and then I do want to read the Warren Ellis one. So we will see if we have the funds to be able to do so. Because again, because there's like 7 books in the Warren Ellis run. I don't know how many there is in the Jeff Lemire one, but
I'll first buy one of them just so I can get the idea.
Yes, absolutely. But I think this is, and again, we've said this before about Disney Plus shows, is that all of them, even though they're all MCU shows, they all feel very different from one another. I can't sit here and say like, Loki reminds me of WandaVision, or Hawkeye reminds me of
Falcon
this.
And
yeah, and like I can't say that because even though they're all heroes and they all kind of in a way know each other so far, because Moon Knight is relatively new. None of the shows are like, oh, this is the formula they're going to follow and it's going to look like this. So I'm very excited for Moon Knight because it seems dark, gritty. There's going to be horror elements to it, which I really love, and that costume is sick. Yeah. I like the coloring too, because I was wondering, like looking at the comics, if they were just gonna make it stark white, but I kind of like that they went with the muted, like a little bit of gray with like kind of like the mummy wrapping.
Yeah, how it looks kind of like a dirty kind of white.
Yeah, I really, really like that. I like the white eyes. I think that's really, really cool.
It's the light of the moon.
Yeah.
And I love that one scene that you actually see like the wrapping come around him. The way that they made it definitely look like he was being wrapped up as like a mummy is really cool. I'm really excited to also see like the fighting style, because I remember seeing a lot of tweets that Oscar Isaac put out of his training, and I'm like, ooh, that's kind of like a capoeira style.
Yeah, that's one of the styles that I think Mark Spector like knows several.
Yes,
I believe I think that's just one of them. So we're very excited, and just to watch Oscar Isaac act, because he's got to take on different personalities. So, and watching him kind of lose his grip on all the things. And I love that when he picked up the old Razr phone, the Motorola Razr, the super old, like what year was that? Early 2000s? And it still somehow worked.
Still, the battery still worked. Hey.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's been sitting there since, but I'm just saying like I'm surprised that it's in like that good of shape, being in such an old phone.
Because also, if I'm not mistaken, the phone started to ring. So that means
it had service.
It had service, and two, our dog is losing her mind.
She just picked up a toy and ran across the hall. Sorry, we're distracted by cute things. But yeah, when he picked up the phone, he's like, "Why do you call me Mark?" I'm like, "Because that's actually you. Just accept that right now you are Steven." Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be I think it's going to be a mind fuck, if you will.
Very much so.
Let's go ahead and get to this final super chat. Marvin Martin, thank you so much for sending these in. Marvin writes, mental illness or a superpower? Again, great message.
Hey, you know what? I mean, it's also a way to start for people to be able to associate with different superheroes. I love the fact that we're starting to get more and more different ethnicities, different cultures, different disabilities. The fact that Maya was deaf and she also had a prosthetic leg
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so many characters that have what we would consider disabilities, but yet they're still superheroes. How do they overcome this? How do they live their everyday life with this? And being able to more and more people able to associate with these superheroes and with these characters, I think is great to have. And also it educates people who've never had any experience. I've never met anyone with multiple personality syndrome, or whatever the actual
DID
with the medical definition of it is. But if they are portraying it correctly, it is nice to actually be educated to the syndrome or the what it is.
Yeah, the disorder.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and hold on. Excited on the news of a Godzilla / Monsterverse series in development at Apple?
Oh.
That's interesting.
Honestly, I think that would be a really good place for like a monster, for like a Godzilla monster King Kong franchise. What is that called? Multiverse, not a multiverse, universe though.
Yeah.
I think that would be really fun and a really good place to kind of put that.
Let me pop up the newsflash banner for a second. So this is thank you so much, MK, for putting this on in the chat. The Deadline article is the one that I'm reading off of, and it says Apple TV Plus lands Godzilla and Titans series based on Legendary's Monsterverse. Ooh. All right, so in a massive deal that expands on Legendary's Monsterverse, Apple TV Plus has ordered a new live-action series featuring Godzilla and the Titans. Wow. So...
And also, if it's something that's going to be coming out on VOD, I think that's the reason why I think it's a really good place to put it, is I think you would have less studio interference with trying to tell a story of these monsters, kind of a thing. So you would get less of a, we have to have a, what is that called? A human protagonist for the audience to cling on to. Whereas they're like, no. The monsters are our protagonist. That's who's going to drive our story forward. Yes. And we have a little bit of human activity in there to kind of push everything forward just a bit. But to be able to fit this into a VOD, I think is great.
Yeah. So this series will be produced by Legendary Television and executive produced by co-creators Chris Black, who will also serve as showrunner, and Matt Fraction, alongside Safe House Pictures' Joby Harold and Tori Tunnel and Toho Co-Limited Hiro Matsuoka and Takemasa Arita will executive produce for Toho. That's very interesting. I feel like maybe this should have been the route that we went. Not that I mind seeing like Godzilla and Kong on the big screen, because I think that's pretty epic.
Yeah.
But this, we can really kind of, like you said, like flesh out the story a little bit more and really expand on it. Let's see. So I don't really think there's much more information on this because this deal is so new. But Apple showed interest as this show looks to add more branded IP to a slate of original TV series that continues to grow, and a deal was soon struck to start development on the series. That makes sense. That's a very smart deal.
Yes.
That's a really smart deal, because that's going to get a lot more eyes on the Apple TV Plus platform as well. And they have a ton of great shows. Like, I really don't watch enough Apple Plus TV because there's so many things to watch.
There's so many streaming services.
Yeah.
Now.
And over here, I'm over here like at midnight, not wanting to go to sleep because I'm watching Singles Inferno on Netflix, because it's just one of those shows you want to turn off your brain for a little bit and you just want to watch things. But thank you so much, MK, for letting us know about that breaking news. Let's see.
And we also do have a super chat. If you go all the way up, there we go.
Oh, Jim.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Oh, Jim says, happy birthday to me. Oh, happy birthday, Jim. Going to watch the new episode of Peacemaker tonight. We haven't even started.
No.
We haven't even started. We got to get through. I'm not going to let us watch it until we get through Cobra Kai, because we're filming the reactions to that. We got to get it all done, and then we'll start at least watching Peacemaker so we can at least talk to you guys about it. I should probably make a spoilers channel on our Discord.
Yeah.
For Peacemaker, for anybody who wants to discuss. Oh, Jim, thank you so much. Happy birthday. I hope you have the best day ever. And it's good to see you in here. I hope you've been doing well. Yeah, I hope you've been doing well. Thank you so much.
I want to hear some of your guys' thoughts. Since Wendy and I have not seen Peacemaker yet, please don't put any spoilers in the chat. But for those of you who have seen it, what do you think? Is the comedy hitting right? How well is John Cena carrying the entire series? How are the other characters' stories? What do you guys think of it so far? Because it was one of those things that we were really excited about, especially after we saw Suicide Squad. So I'm curious on what your guys' thoughts are. And
like, does it work?
No, you gotta watch it now.
Does it work with him without the Suicide Squad, even though he's got his other team?
Because that was one thing that I was a little concerned about. Because the best part of him as Peacemaker was kind of his rivalry between him and Deadshot.
Yes. No, Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. Him and Bloodsport. And just that constantly hitting of bonking of the heads together, and them trying to one up each other. And I was kind of like, well, what happens when you take that away? How well will they be able to tell a story like that? Yeah. And I mean, it's very possible that they could have pulled it off very well.
Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. And we're starting with MK, who says Peacemaker is fantastic.
Yes.
Had no hype prior to the show, but it is excellent. Let me see. I have to go back up a little bit. Ruru 2 says Peacemaker has been great so far.
Awesome.
A couple of you guys haven't seen it yet. Leo says, I'm excited to binge Peacemaker when it all comes out. Marie says, it's awesome.
Awesome. Cool.
And Lando says, I hear it's good. Oh, here we go. This one's by Ariane Singh, who says, Peacemaker is great. It's very James Gunn, quite vulgar, but if you're into it, it's actually quite funny. Good.
I had a feeling.
The story is really building up great too. Sorry.
What is it called? I kind of had a feeling that it was going to be very, very vulgar. Because I mean, you're going to have John Cena, who's used to talking smack because he's a wrestler, kind of a thing. And also, a friend of mine from work was kind of like, you see a lot of the guy's ass.
Oh no, my battery is going to die.
Don't know.
Let me go grab the charger.
So he was just talking about how, like, it's almost like I've seen so much of John Cena's butt that I'm kind of like, well, it's probably in his contract somewhere saying that, well, just so you know, John Cena, we're going to want to be able to show off your manliness a lot in this series, because he's like running around in his underwear. And I'm just like, yeah, that seems kind of...
I feel like John Cena's always in his tighty whities in movies or whatever.
Always kind of wearing that kind of... I mean, it's fun. I just find it funny and amusing too. That's very much the humor, the very crude, vulgar. And I don't know how the violence is in it, but I'm assuming that there's a few head splats.
I mean, it's got to be cohesive to what we saw in Suicide Squad.
Very rated
R. And yeah. Let's see. Murtaranta says, I think the comedy is a bit hit and miss. Way too much juvenile jokes for me. That's after 3 episodes. I can see that too. I can see that too. Let's see. In the light of... Oh, this is not... Oh, here we go. MK says, Cena showing a range that I didn't really know he had prior. Comedy, action, and emotional beats all hit. All around win with one of the greatest opening credits too. Have you seen the opening credit?
No, I've
seen it. Oh my gosh. Maybe we should have you do a reaction to it. It's so unexpected, but also on brand. Let's see.
I'm excited now. I want to, and honestly, I think this is
my friend Michelle
also a good
learned
one.
the dance.
Oh, really?
She learned like a dance sequence. I'll show you after this is over.
I think this would also be, if we can get around to it, a good one to do a reaction to, because there's going to be those moments where you're like, oh, kind of a moment. You think,
can I get away with it on YouTube with all the cussing and stuff?
Oh, that's very true.
Or
you probably would get a lot of swearing, and we'd have to be very careful.
People are doing reactions. Late to the Party's doing it. They might be the only... I haven't checked on anybody else who's doing it, but I'm gonna assume maybe the rejects are as well. So if they are, like, it should be okay, because we would know by now if they ran into a roadblock.
Yeah, sure. They would have told us.
Yeah, we would have.
They've been like, don't do if you're going to do a reaction to Peacemaker, don't do it. It's too much hassle. Oh, and the real rejects are. MK is saying that the real rejects are.
Yeah, nice. Jim says, Vigilante is my favorite so far. I can't wait to see how that relationship is, that friendship, or whatever you want to call it is. That's awesome. For Reed, yes, we know about the announced cast list. We haven't watched yet because we're actually going to film a reaction video to it. So that is actually something we're going to work on right after we end this live. And then to Boogeytron, welcome back. Good seeing you in the chat. Boogeytron says, in the light of news for Batman, WB and Michael Giacchino recently posted they would release the main theme for the movie at 9 p.m. PT, or 9 p.m. depending on... Oh, so it's 9 p.m. wherever you are? Is it regional?
Well, we'll start watching at 9.
That's 6 p.m. then for us, because that would be 9 p.m. EST.
And normally things come out at midnight. Oh, no, that would be... No, never mind. Don't listen to me. I'm getting my timeline flip-flopped.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and get out of here so we can go ahead and actually work on that video so I can get to editing and a couple of other things. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on a Thursday. We will be back on Saturday at 2 p.m. PT to talk all things Book of Boba Fett, episode 4? Yes, episode 4. And also on Saturday, we are going to be playing both of us in another TRPG game. This one is entitled King of the Dirt. Kings of Dirt. What did I say? Kings of the Dirt? Whatever. I'm just making up my own titles.
But yeah, it's Kings of Dirt. It's very much a Mad Max kind of tabletop role-playing game, and it's on a system called 2D20. Check us out at the DAT Network at twitch.tv/the DAT Network.
And that's going to be at 6 p.m. PT on Saturday. But if you follow us on our social, which you can find up there, you will find us posting about it. I should probably put our own personal ones too, because I really don't post as much as I should to our Instagram and to our Twitter. But with that said, we love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here and your continuous support. We'll see you on Saturday or in the next video. Bye, you guys.